Well, first off, with the Yankees, with the team as old as they are, the biggest thing is just staying healthy. They have an older team with Alex Rodriguez, Carlos Beltran, Mark Teixeira, but so far this season, they just need starting pitching to go deep into games. We've seen how good the bullpen is, but it can't be every day. You can't expect that type of bullpen to pitch every day. So the starters need to continue to keep going deep into games. I mean, Jay Wright's team hadn't been in the Final Four since 2009, and they've really done a great job this year. They beat an Iowa team that was ranked third in the country at one point, even though they struggled later on in the season. They dismantled Miami, blew them out of the gym, and then obviously the most impressive win was Kansas, just locking down Perry Ellis and getting Jay Wright's team back to the Final Four is a really impressive run for that team. Tonight we will take a look around the world in sports, starting off with some NBA action with the Golden State Warriors taking on the LA Lakers. Golden State came in with a record of 54-5, while the struggling Lakers are 12-51 on the season.
So Tim, has the sheer dominance of the UConn women hurt the sport of college basketball?
I really think it has. I think they've just been so dominant for so long that everyone knows that they're going to be in the Final Four, and if not, win the whole thing every year. They're going to win their fourth in a row this year, most likely. And even last night, they're a 30-point favorite in the Elite Eight. That shouldn't happen. Everyone knows that they're going to go as far as they go every year. They need more of a rival. Years past, they had Skylar Diggins on Notre Dame, and they had Brittany Griner at Baylor, and that's been a team that could possibly beat them. Now it just feels like they're just coasting through everybody.
See, in my opinion, UConn can't kill women's basketball. Okay. UConn is women's basketball. It's the reason we talk about the sport. It's the reason they get so much attention is because of their sustained excellence. And frankly, I think dynasties are good for sports.
But at what point is too many years in a row winning too much for them? If they go 5, 6, 7, 8 years in a row winning it all and not losing a game, isn't that too much and seeing not enough competition?
Sports are cyclical, and frankly, I think UConn's going to continue to do well, but we shall see.
Yeah, we'll see if they can win again this year. I got the Mets. Sad to say it's Yankee fan, but I got the Mets winning all over the Rangers. They got that pitching staff back. They got Matz with a full year under his belt. Hopefully, Harvey, the news came back today that he's be healthy for opening day, but they brought Cespedes back. They got Neil Walker to play second base. Hopefully, they get a healthy David Wright and Travis d'Arnaud, and I think they're going to win it all this year.
Robert Griffin III has signed with the Cleveland Browns. The Browns have had their fair share of highly publicized failings in recent years, and now they join forces with Robert Griffin III. How do you see the signing planning out for each side?
I don't think it's going to work out for either side. I mean, Cleveland has been a place for quarterbacks who've gone to die for nearly 20 years now, and I don't see that changing with RG3. He doesn't have many weapons, if any weapons at all. Josh Gordon may come off a suspension, but that's still up in the air, and the Browns are likely going to draft a quarterback in the first round, and then RG3 will have a quarterback looking over his head just like he did in Washington.
Then let's take a look at Boston now in the offseason. They got pitcher David Price from the Toronto Blue Jays. He was a free agent. What has that done for the club so far in the season?
It's gave them the ace they needed. Last year, that's why the big reason why the Sox struggled. They didn't have that one go-to guy in the rotation, and Price gives them that. He's had 3 starts for the Sox so far. 2 of them went well, 1 of them not so well, but opening day we saw he had 10 Ks, got the Sox the win, and that was huge for them. But I still think they don't have enough pitching. They have Price at the 1 spot, but with Buckles, Joe Kelly, and Rick Porcello, 2, 3, and 4. I don't think that's going to be enough. So be interesting to see as the season goes on if they make a move to get a number 2 to give a compliment with Price 1 and 2, because I think that's what they're going to need in a tough AL East.
We now go to a team that has more than enough pitching, the New York Mets. The Mets made the World Series last year, and this year their pitching has lived up to the hype, but their offense has lagged behind. They're ranked near the bottom of the league in runs. What's been the root of the Mets' offensive struggles?
Well, they got going last night. They got Lucas Duda's first home run. They got David Wright's first home run and second home run in a win in Philly. But they just got to be more consistent. I mean, if they can get production from Wright, and if Wright can stay healthy, obviously he has the back issue. If he can stay healthy, that's huge. If Duda can get going, that's huge. And they have guys that are going to hit. Yoenis Cespedes has been, obviously, every Met fan wanted him back, and he's back. And if he can hit, they got Neil Walker at second base. They're going to be a good team. They have the pitching. They have the closer in Familia, who's going to be great all year. I think the Mets are going to be fine. The Nationals have been off to such a hot start in the NL East, but they'll come back to earth a little bit, and I think it'll be a 2-team race the whole way between the Mets and the Nationals.
Thank you very much, Tim Kenny. As always, great MLB analysis. This is QNN Sports. I'm Tyson Geik. She is Bethany Olson. Bethany, I thought we might have heard the last of the Deflategate scandal, but the drama continues. Brady saw his 4-game suspension reinstated by a federal appeals court, which was, of course, originally imposed by League Commissioner Roger Goodell last year.
And speaking of last year, Brady spoke with the media regarding the case in January of 2015. Let's take a quick look back on what he had to say when Deflategate first came about.
Is Tom Brady a cheater?
I don't believe so. I mean, I feel like I've always played within the rules. I would never do anything to break the rules. I believe in fair play, and I respect the league and everything that they're doing to try to create a very competitive playing field for all the NFL teams.
Well, between Brady now actually having to serve a 4-game suspension and the NFL draft, which begins on Thursday, there is certainly no shortage of football news. My co-anchor Bethany is joined by QNN football analyst Ian Whit Cosman, who has more on Deflategate and high-profile players who may be on the move.
Ian, plenty of NFL headlines to get to. Let's start with Tom Brady. His 4-game suspension reinstated. What more do you have on this?
Well, I can't believe you and I are still talking about this a year and a half later, but here we are. Basically, Brady and the NFLPA have 3 main options they can pursue here. First, they can ask for a rehearing in front of the same panel of 3 judges, but they probably won't do this because there's no reason to think those 3 judges will change their opinion. Second, he can ask for a hearing en banc, which means that all 13 of the Second Circuit judges would vote to hear the case, and if they do, we won't have a resolution until 2017. No, thank you. Finally, they can appeal all the way to the Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court only likes to take cases with broader ramifications, and the circumstances of Deflategate are so unique, they probably won't do that. So it's more likely than not that Brady will have to serve the suspension.
Well, we'll see what happens with this ongoing saga. Moving on, Sam Bradford informed the Eagles yesterday that he wants to be traded and won't report to any of their offseason programs. Is Bradford justified here in wanting to be moved?
No, in my opinion, I don't see what Bradford is doing here. It's as if he feels entitled to something he hasn't earned yet. You see, even if the Eagles do draft a quarterback, number 2 overall, if Bradford goes out and plays well, they're going to want to keep him beyond their 2-year contract. So what he should do is be competitive, show that he wants the job, so that if he plays poorly, he still has 2 years of film and other teams will want to sign him. So he just isn't putting himself in a good light at all.
I do agree with you there. Well, if you want to see what the Eagles do with their pick, round 1 of the NFL draft is this Thursday at 8.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this special presentation of QNN Sports. Alongside Lorena Monroy, I'm Tom Albanese, and today we're joined by sophomore on the Quinnipiac women's basketball team, Carly Fabry. Carly, how you doing?
I'm great. Great to be here.
Great. We're glad to have you here. So let's go right into it. So you just obviously completed your sophomore season at Quinnipiac. So overall, what are your overall thoughts on this past season for you and your team?
Definitely a great season for us. Very young, inexperienced. We graduated a great senior class last year and 5 of our starters. But I think with our freshmen and returners, we played very well. We got to a postseason tournament and we won a game in a postseason tournament, which has never been done in the history of Quinnipiac women's basketball. But definitely hungry for next year.
And for you personally, so you started out as a freshman last season and not on the starting lineup since, of course, the whole starting lineup was seniors. You come into a starting role in your sophomore year. So how much have you grown personally from your beginning of your freshman year to now? I
think pretty well. I think I've grown, but definitely room for improvement. I think freshman year, it was a great freshman year. I mean, part of a winning a championship team behind senior leadership like Boo Abshire, Sam Guastella, Jazz Martin, players like that. I think I learned a lot playing against them in practice every day. And sophomore year with some injuries and mixing around in positions, I moved from the 2 spot to the 1 spot. Felt really comfortable. I was happy with my teammates. We worked really well together, and definitely a good year for growth and experience.